Even when it was in the public sector, we weren't putting in the money we needed into our railway system.
Akbar Ghafoor is a computer science student who I want to question from, because we're coming towards the end. Mr. Ghafoor.
I know that
Yes, sir.
buying books and paying for accommodation is a part of getting a good and fair education. So why on earth did you take away maintenance grants from poorer students?
I mean, again, we come back to the issue of money. Now,
Something which Mo Mowlam said was a mistake.
well, she didn't actually say that, but I understand why people, it's not popular, obviously, because people would like everything for free.
Well, Prime Minister, there are poorer students who are being underprivileged because of your education system, the way you are running the tuition fee system. Not just the tuition fee. I understand that 50% of the people
Yes.
are exempt.
Exactly.
What about the fact that maintenance grants, there's no maintenance grants for those poor people? How on earth are they supposed to move away to university if they can't afford it? And then you put them in debt when they leave university. The average debt is around £12,000 per graduate. That's a lot of money, Prime
And
Minister.
it is what Mo Mowlam said. She didn't talk about fees. She said that the grants was a mistake.
Well, what she actually said was that she thought it was right that there was a balance between the contribution between government and students. And let me just explain to you why this system has changed. Because when I went to university back in the 1970s, I got the full maintenance grant and no
That's not
tuition
fair,
fees.
is it? What about us?
But okay, but what I'm saying to you is, when I was going to university, 7% of school leavers went to university. Now the figure's closer to 35%, so there are 5 times as many going. When we came to power again, what we found was that the university system was in such a state, universities themselves were saying we're going to charge fees unless you change the system of finance, and we had a cap on student numbers. Only 30% of students were able to go to university, only 30% of school leavers. So we had to change the system of finance, and the reason for that is clear.
Well,
you know, if you're a university, no, can I just explain? If you're a university graduate, you earn 25, 30, 35% more than someone who is not. Now, if I decide to make everything free for the student, I have to take that money.
The poor students.
Well, hang on, the poor students, as you rightly pointed out a moment ago, 50% of people don't pay tuition.
No, but that's tuition fees. We're not, sorry.
And
we're
on
talking about maintenance grants,
but on
not about
maintenance
tuition
grants, you
fees.
pay
He gave
nothing.
the point on tuition
I know,
fees.
but you pay nothing back until you're earning at least over £10,000 a year.
But that's still a debt, isn't it?
I know, but if I don't have the contribution from the student, and after all, we're putting in more money into universities this year, if we don't have a system of contribution, I've got to take that money from elsewhere. And I simply say to you, in the end, there's a finite level of resources that we can do.
Prime Minister,
and right round the world, countries that have faced the similar problem of expanding student numbers have had to change the system of
so
student
much for
finance.
having a fair chance.
Prime Minister, you say you want half the country to go into further education. On your watch as Prime Minister, the number of applicants for universities has fallen year on year on year since 1997.
Sorry.
Is that the consequence of what you're
David, there are actually
describing?
75,000 more students going into
I'm talking about
university this year.
applicants. I'm not talking about the
but the applicants
growth
don't
rate.
end up as the number of people that actually go.
But don't you want people to be encouraged to go? Aren't you
course.
alarmed that people are stopping saying they want to go to university? That's the point he's making.
No,
In the
but the
future-
very point that I'm making to you is that when we came to office, there was a cap on student numbers. We've been able to raise that cap and more people can go. But in the end, it comes back to money. And you've got to decide whether we have a system where we try and fund it all out of taxation, which is going to be very difficult to do. And remember, you know, the Conservative proposal is to take a quarter of the university budget away, or whether we actually have a balance between the student contribution and the state contribution.
All right, the woman in blue there, in spectacles. You have to be quick, because we're coming up to...